And the answer to that last example was negative 117. I got cut off there. So now that we've looked at some examples of exponents, let me now direct your attention to scientific notation. This is briefly mentioned in our assignment. I think this is covered in assignment 4. Scientific notation is one of those applications of negative exponents and the properties of exponents. Scientific notation deals with very large and very small numbers, and it becomes much easier to do operations with scientific notation, such as multiplying or dividing, writing these huge numbers in scientific notation. And in scientific notation, notice my examples here. I've got 4,200,000. To convert it to scientific notation, I started with my decimal and I moved it to the left 6 places in order to get my decimal behind the first non-zero digit. Okay, the key here is that I want this number to be less than 10. It needs to be less than 10, but greater than 1. Okay, and we do that by placing the decimal behind the first non-zero digit. So we move the decimal place to the left 6 places, and that gives us 4.2. And the number of places we move the decimal becomes our exponent. If we move it to the left, it's a negative. If we move it to the right, it's going to be a positive. In this case, it's 4.2 times 10 to the negative 6 power. And in the second number, we have a very small number, 0.008235. To convert this to scientific notation, we do the same thing, except this time we're moving the decimal place to the right 3 places. Once we move to the right 3 places, we've got our decimal to the right of our first non-zero digit, 8. So we have 8.235, which is less than 10, but greater than 1, so that's correct. And then our exponent is the number of places we move our decimal. We moved it to the right, so it's a positive 3 this time. And then operations we can do with the scientific notation. If we take 4.2 times 10 to the negative 6 and 8.235 times 10 to the third power, what we can do is we can multiply the numbers that are in front. 4.2 times 8.235 is 34.587. And that's 10 times 10 to the, we're multiplying, so we add exponents. Negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. And now, this is almost our final answer, but this is not in scientific notation because 34.587 is larger than 10. It needs to be less than. So we're going to need to move our decimal to the left to make it just past our first non-zero digit. So we move the decimal place to the left 1 place. So our exponent needs to be negative 1. So we need to add a negative 1 to our exponent, making our final answer 3.4587 times 10 to the negative 4th power.